Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Mystics MMOs. I'm your host, Mystic Raven. So, I definitely want to give everybody a heads up about the Explorer Celebration. Double resources, double experience, double gold from all sources. Really good time to be logging in if you're currently not logging in, so you can get more champion points, all that good stuff, man. So just a heads up, everybody. Take advantage of it while you can. Now, title. You can dislike it, but you can't deny it. So I have daughters, and the one thing I've always said to my girls, honey, you might not like it, you might hate it, but sometimes it is what it is. And of course my girls will be like, I guess. And, but yesterday, what prompted me to do this is a lot of people are not happy with me. Well, that's nothing new. But there's nothing new there. But regardless, you'll get all this like, we hate him, just go ahead and dislike all the stuff. Oh, I mean, that's cool, whatever. But I've always said, okay, sure, you're going to hate it, whatever. But can you change it? No, you can't. The fact of it is, I did well yesterday PvP. I did exceptionally well. I'm going to keep coming out with cancerous builds. People are going to watch them. You know why? Because they want to be competitive. They're going to want to be able to be like, I hate this build. They'll even say, I hate this build. I hate this build. But they'll use it. So the funny thing about it is, I've always said, you might not like me. You might not. But I come out with beyond exceptional healer builds. I come out with great PvP builds. I come out with good PvE builds, strong PvE builds. And regardless if you like me or not, it doesn't change the facts. So you can, like I said, you can troll me to the ends of the world. You can dislike in masses. You can dislike it. But you can't deny it. You can't. Nobody else is people are going to use them. It's just the way it is, man. I'm not really sorry. I just think some people are just delusional. They're like, you're delusional. Really? I've heard that a time or two, too. That's actually hilarious that you would think that, but whatever, man. Everybody has an opinion. You're entitled to one, too. But it's not going to change the facts. Suck it up, buttercups. It's just the way it is. So, we're going to do some randoms. We'll pick up the dailies just in case. Whatever. Just in case one of them procs. Whatever have you. That's what I always do. I need transmutation stones. Why? Because I got to finish my PvP build. I've got to finish my Slurk healer build. God, I need to finish so many builds. And transmutation just makes it easier. I've got a lot of builds coming out relatively very shortly when the CP changes are finalized with Blackwood due to the new implementations and nerf bats going across the board. Now, it's like I said, there's going to be things that some players are going to want to try to implement. And, because they're holding on to a 2-year system that the devs are just like, no, we're done. We're nerfing DPS. We're nerfing crit the hell and back. And, if you try to hold on, that's at your own peril. And I don't think and once again, I've re-stressed that a lot of players are going to have a hard time doing what? Adapting. Right? But I'll coin this again. This is a stat meta. It no longer, you're going to be walking away from a lot of procs, both PvP and PvE. PvP actually is going to be a lot worse in that essence, though, because you're still going to have procs in PvP. You're just going to have a reduced, limited amount of procs unless you can scale high enough, which Stamina has that luxury. Mag does not. Mag is going to actually have a harder time. They're still not going to reach that majority in PvP, which is going to hinder them. They're also going to have a hard time reaching that in PvE, especially when it comes to monster procs. So I've converted already. You know, I've said, you know, I'm going with the stat boost. I'm amplifying damage across the board. You know, since I've returned, I've made these adjustments due to the incoming changes, and I feel like it's better because I'm able to accommodate the base damage without relying on a proc. And thus, it increases, you know, a lot of my healing. Like my healing, I walked away from critical healing on a lot of configurations, unless I'm Khajiit or a Sork healer. Those two are kind of more imperative, I guess. I think Khajiit is still a really good race. It's so adaptable. But the thing about it is, its passives is very, very much critical. You know, they took away the crit chance and added a critical, you know, boost. And the problem with that within itself is Zoss is nerfing crit. So even if we amplify, we can get up to about between 70, 80, but you can't now accomplish 100% critical chance. And if you keep putting into that, your base goes down. You're relying on what? Critical modifiers. And if you're relying on critical modifiers too much, what ends up happening, you still lose the DPS. You're going to lose DPS. The way Zoss did it, it was kind of, you know, pretty much, they raised up base stats for all tunes. So modification into health isn't no longer a thing. You don't need to. Take sets like Ebony and kind of just trashes them. No longer required. But, which is actually good because it takes the tanks and puts them in a lot better formations for different, you know, setups. You know, so I just think that there's a lot of really good pros going into this from the development standpoint. But, you know, from a player's perspective, of course they're going to be a little peeved because they've been accommodated. But for 2 years, you guys all ran the same shit. This is not a linear game. Progression is open-ended, so you have to what? Reconfigure for that. You have to accommodate to these changes. So I don't know why this DPS is barreling down here without the tank. Crazy, man. Do these guys know what they're even doing? I ask. Oh boy. I might actually finish my other tank this week too. I needed you. And I definitely gotta hit up Kraken. Double Nernkrok week? Oh my god. Yo, man. Stupid DPS. Can't even finish what they started. You guys want to take a look at what's firing at you? Whatever. I'm loving the PC community, by the way. God, I love you guys. And I'm really going to love PvPing against a lot of you in the upcoming weeks. Because you guys are going to deserve every inch of fucking crazy fucking your talk shit against console players is coming to an end. Half of you are fucking chicken shit to go on a console. You know why? They beat the fuck out of your asses. Try to play with the controller once. Yeah, it can suck, but these guys have adapted and are really good at it. They're good. I still play with the controller in this game. I can play keyboard, and everything on every other game except this game, because now I've become accommodated to the controller. It sucks because there is sometimes a delay. Well, and the game does that too, regardless. So, what the hell? Don't tank it out there. Don't take it out there. I'm trying to get an interview with a World of Warcraft player too. That I know. And so they can give their feedback on how progression differs. Now, they don't play ESO, but I think a lot of players who've never played World of Warcraft, or this is their first MMO, I've talked about it, but I don't think people really understand my background in other MMOs. So I would like to get, a current player, a player who currently plays, because it's been a while since I've rated in WoW. What's currently going on in World of Warcraft, these changes, how progression works from a rating standpoint in past, how it's affected now. I just feel like it would be a really good, piece. So I really would like to do it. So I'm waiting to hear back if they are, interested in, accommodating that. So, because like I said, I know this person. I believe that they still do mythics and they're running. So I don't know. But I would like to get their feedback. I just feel like it would just be really good stuff. So, and then tell them about ESO, because they don't play this game. So once I tell them how the system works here versus what's going on in World of Warcraft, I think they're going to be blown away. I think then they'll give a proper, like, okay, well, this is how other MMOs typically operate. Because one thing I love about this game is the fact that it isn't like other MMOs. And I think that's one of the benefits to this game, But once again, the community wants to make it toxic. I bring that to light, but yet Mystic's so toxic. Why am I toxic? Because, I actually talked to one other person. Someone's like, people just can't stand it when you're being honest and they don't want to hear it. And I'm like, right. That's all it is. People sometimes don't want to hear it for what it is. I agree with that. I really do. Unfortunately, I'm not censored very well. So I'm not a very censored person. All right. I'm hoping they agree to it. I'm hoping they might even bring maybe one or two people. It would be a very interesting topic. I think so. I think it'd just be a great topic piece. Yeah, like I said, I've main tanked 5 other MMOs as a raider. I just never could take this game as serious because it was, from a linear perspective, to progress as a raider, it's weekly. The weekly lockouts matter. There's just no way to cut it. You can't acquire it at your own leisure, and in this game, it's what it is. How statting works in this game. You can come up with all these different effects. Like, that's why in the beginning I never wanted trial gear, because it actually fucked my DPS up. That 3-piece Slayer buff didn't scale. Someone's like, are you using? I'm like, fuck no. But for healing, yeah, But then tank sets, for example. How many tanks actually rolled the sets that ZOS would put out for tanks? None. And up until Yokelin came out, they didn't. They never did. That, truth be told, right? So how can you take trial serious when, a lot of the healers were still running Spell Power Cure, Worm, Spell Power Cure, Sanctuary, Spell Power Cure, you know what I'm saying? Up until all rooms, no healer actually took the healing, trial set serious. That's why I didn't take it serious. The DPS would try to hold even on to some of the, sets, but just to find out, that 5-piece bonus later on, because I mentioned that, the 5-piece bonus to activation is a proc, and you lose the base damage up front. Because you're not getting that extra weapon damage, or you're not getting that extra stat, and you're losing DPS, but it amplifies, absolutely, it does. So, but unfortunately, a lot of the times, that's why I just never took trials serious. You know what I'm saying? It just almost to the point where it was pointless to be a trial player. The progression just was not there. And a lot of players, were just like, But then, like I said, you had crazy sets that ended up doing really well. Afterwards, with Somerset, I felt like, no offense to, Halls of Fabrication, War Machine, and Master Architect were 2 really good sets. The other 2 sets didn't pan out. Did they? No. But once everybody got, everything firing, that's how those 2 sets did well. And they still are good sets because of the Major Slayer buffs. But other than that, a lot of times the progression just wasn't there. I mean, if you wanted the feat, yeah, I guess. But for me, I was like, I'm not a fluffer anymore. I don't chase fluff. So it's all about what? Scaling stats. So now we have some sets that for healers after Somerset that were really good. They're now coming out with more tank supportive sets with Yokelin. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I would have appreciated the tank sets, as a tank, but they didn't care about survival. More DPS, more DPS, more DPS. And you can't blame the community for that, honestly. Because, ZOS just never made the mechanics, I hate to say this, hit hard enough where you'd want the tank to have a defensive set for your group. They just never did. You know, imagine them putting in, you know, these crazy AoE sets, right? Where you would want a tank to be able to mitigate, you know, for just having it on, the mitigation applies to the group, right? Ebony did that for the health scale, but no one ever took into effect the Aegis because healers would have it. I always said, man, tanks should, you know, have these, the mechanics should literally be hitting so fucking hard that if you're not in range of a tank, you're pretty much toast. So fucking double hit. Fuck. I have appreciation for what the devs want to do with the mechanics. They want players to play more mechanic. They're going to drop the DPS. I wish they wouldn't have done the crit. They could have done other ways to drop DPS without having to affect the critical. But once again, I feel like it's the community's own fault for not understanding how base damage works to critical modification. It's also the ZOS could have actually, you know, decreased the critical modifiers versus the critical value, and that would have solved the problem within itself as well. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I kind of have mixed feelings about it in a lot of ways. So, you know, I mean, I understand their position. I just felt like maybe they went around it, you know, because especially with the scaling system, it's just like, I get what you guys are doing, but once again, your scale factor is more of a detriment. I've said this multiple times. I'm like, because I'm going to build base. You know, I've always been a person who's stuck by certain numbers in every game I play, even regardless of how, you know, if I'm not the best player who plays it, my calculations are pretty solid. And I always tell people, man, hey, look, man, you might not like it. You might hate me for it. You might want to say whatever. But when you get somebody who plays that class, they test it, they're like, yo, man, this is legit. Most of the time, I don't even try to, you know, try to min-max as whatever. I try to provide builds for average players, get them on normal. If they want to amplify that, like one of my viewers did something brilliant. He's like, this build's great. I'm going to switch out the Mundus. He did. I guess he's doing really well with it. And I'm glad that he made that, you know, adjustment. Because now, you know, he likes the build. And at the end of the day, I want the players to feel like if they need to tweak it to make it a little bit more accessible and do a little bit more on their top load, absolutely. So that's why I don't ever say my shit's the best. You know, I try to give it, you know, a pretty, you know, solid build across the board. So, and I don't rag on people's builds. Even meta players, I don't rag on their build. I just usually rag at the fact that they don't count very well. But yeah, if you hate me for doing well in PvP, God, that's even better. It's like I got 5 dislikes for doing good in PvP. It's like, yeah, I get it. You guys really, really don't like the fact that I'm doing, but to you guys, I don't know what I'm talking about. To them, to those trolls, they're like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. If I didn't, how am I able to build it? How am I able to exploit a system? You know, they're like, oh, well, you got to be brain. You know, here's the thing: I come up with the combos because that's how I know it. It's like, look, this is toxic by itself. This is toxic by itself. Pair the two together, add this effect. Now I got a guaranteed application with a stacking effect. And now, not only that, I'm aware of the upcoming changes, and I can adjust accordingly. But if I didn't know what I was talking about, well, that wouldn't be so easy. Not exactly what I wanted to do. Okay, there we go. At least I got the ground AoE down. I always hate getting it as a healer. Change me, change me, change me, change me back. Bone Pirates Restoration Staff. But, like I said, people can hate me. They can hate me. They can hate what I have to say. That doesn't really affect me. It really doesn't. I think, once again, what we need to take a look at, I think a lot of things are going to be looking good. Players are butthurt. And I think Zoss is on the right path. And they need to, once again, they're starting to listen to the community and realize, yeah, this is a gimmick. We want people to progress. We want people to have incentive. But readjusting these later is way more pain in the ass. And it is, you shouldn't have to go down that path. You shouldn't have to appease, whatever. Players like the content. I love the content in Elder Scrolls. I've always said Elder Scrolls content is phenomenal. So, and being an open-ended game, I can understand the frustration, of what players want to do. I've said you can separate PvE and PvP. You can offer, a multitude of solutions to keep people engaged and keep incentive there. But once again, I don't work for ZeniMax, so, I'm not obligated to, try to be there, whatever. I feel like they need new skill lines, not more than a class. I know a lot of people want to have classes, and I'm like, well, the diversity in this game is, since it's open-ended, would be more, introduction to new skill lines, weapons being specifically. And I think, and I will give this without any, once again, if I make an open suggestion, ZeniMax, they can utilize these suggestions without me pursuing any, whatever. I say that, and of course, me saying that openly, that they would win in a court battle every day of the week. So, but I'm saying it openly. They could, introduce pole arms for the stamina classes. They can offer, tomes or wands to the magic class, offering new skill lines. and those come with new spells and new abilities. And I think a lot of players, both PvE and PvP, when you put that behind a chapter or a DLC, it promotes it without having to introduce gear in the DLC for PvPers. And I've also said there's different ways to implement, like Imperial City Sewers is a prime example of a DLC that offered a PvP content, an additional PvP content. And they can always implement those features. And same thing with, Battlegrounds. Initially, it was locked behind Morrowind, which I'm not opposed to. Like, new maps, new boards, things like that. Same thing with PvP incentives. I've said multiple times there are different ways that ZeniMax can appeal without having to put PvP, a set behind PvE that makes PvPers feel obligated to get that to be relative. I don't see the point behind it. So, but, or is it because you couldn't do the trials? I've done trials. I started off as a trial healer before whatever. What the fuck are you talking about? I just cleared vet fucking VA. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh my god. Fucking idiot. You guys are so toxic, but it's so funny. It's hilarious, actually. It's actually somewhat hilarious and pathetic at the same time. I have the statue in my showcase at my residence. We made it to Guildhall, but I'll go there real quick just to show you the fucking shit. No, I didn't have a walkthrough. I do have it recorded, but the thing about it is, it's like you can't do the trial. Oh my god, what a fucking morons. But no, that's like I couldn't do Maelstrom either. He can't complete Maelstrom. God, oh fuck, I swear to God. It's so funny. You guys are hilarious. But just to show it, yeah, I did it. There was a last minute, it's like they were wanting to fill like a spot. I said, fuck it, I'll come in with you guys. I'll do it. And I went and I did it. You guys aren't elite and you guys can't even count. It's funny. A lot of healers use my builds too in trials. I was a trial healer. Like prior to even Maul coming out, I did all the original Craglorn trials during VR 14 stages with Nightblade and DK. That's how I started off as a healer. I mean, I was a healer during dungeon runs, but I was actually a trial healer in this game. So, and then I didn't have incentive because I was like, there's none of this gear I fucking want. And then the same thing, that's what we're talking about. And so I couldn't ever take it serious, and you could farm it. There you go. There you go. There you go. I also have the one from Hell Raw. I've streamed this one. Oh, that's the one from whatever. There's my AA one and whatever else have you. There you go. Fuck off. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I never gave a shit. I can't do it. I have it. This is my residence. So, see? This is my residence. So, whatever. Whatever's. I don't care. Most of the time, it's just like, at the end of the day, I mean, I think that's another reason, a lot of healers, they always like whatever, they used to come and, get my builds and my opinions. And, I was one of the most watched healers for the game. Well, because I play every role as a healer, so. Templar bores me. I always had a Templar. I would never put two in a group. So someone's like, well, you get your healer? And I'm like, yeah. Who's the other healer? What class are they on? Templar. Okay, well, I'll grab the DK. What? We don't need another Templar healer. We didn't. Or I'll grab the Nightblade. I don't need 2 Templar healers in a trial. Never did. Warden, same thing, I guess. But by that time, I was just whatever. I guess diffused. So, and then I got more into PvP. PvP is my end game. Always has been. I also played DAOC, so I had an appreciation for especially Cyrodiil because it mimics exactly what Matt did back in DAOC, which was a phenomenal siege engine. Of course, the community didn't understand. Some of the community members didn't understand the premise, I guess, behind Cyrodiil. I think it fit really well, especially with the 3 factions. I think Matt always did an amazing job. Mark Jacobs is replicating the the DAOC with Camelot Unchained. I hope it does well. I feel his timeline is a little behind, but given the the grand scope of the game itself, it's going to do good. That's why I'm hoping Crowfall does good too. It's not an extension of Shadowbane, but same development, director. But I wasn't a big Shadowbane fan due to the fact that it was buggy as fuck. So DAOC was way more up my alley when it came to sieging. But I also played Star Wars Galaxies, and that was a siege-based PvP game as well. So, and then Rift. I was a main tank in Rift, main tank in World of Warcraft, main tank in AEQ 1 and 2. And actually Vanguard, I was a ranger. So yeah, a lot of things, man. A lot of things. Spent my time, whatever. It's cutting it close. Yeah, I'm not too worried about it, but gotta get these transmutations, man. Gotta get them. VASO, literally nothing. VAS2, the hardest part, I can imagine. How much for you to deactivate your YouTube and ESO account? How much? You couldn't pay me. Money is trivial to a person like me. Literally. You guys trying to force me out, but you can't. And it won't, because thousands of players will flock to my PvP builds alone. Thousands will watch my healer builds alone. Sorry. Even if they don't like me, they'll do it. They'll flock to it. Sorry. You really don't understand my background at all. You think money's important to a person like me? Oh boy. I just said I don't even do YouTube to gain a profit. Everything I get in YouTube just goes back into whatever I do in the gaming. I wanted to do giveaways and stuff too eventually, but whatever. You guys are just kind of hopeless. Damn it. But yeah. Trust me. The players will love it. They'll love the toxicity I'm going to come out with. I already got people rolling up, starting to put together the DPS builds I got coming. It sucks, but it's the truth. Oh well. I can't believe you guys didn't even think about it. False God and Kina? Fuck. Shit. That's a no-brainer. That's a fucking no-brainer. I should have thought about it with VO years ago, actually. But, yeah. No, it's great. It's a great combination. And I got to thank my one dude, man, for giving me the heads up with the Dom. Because once I put it on that other set, Jesus, 11k? Fuck. 11k weapon damage? Holy shit. Fucking A. That is crazy. That is nuts. That is insane. Whatever. You could be a main tank in every MMO, still playing bad at this game. Obviously, I'm playing bad because everything you guys said I couldn't do, I have done. Oh my god. I'm getting my monster sets. I'm getting my trial sets. I mean, whatever. Like I said, I mean, I pug a lot too. It's whatever. I don't care. Actually, I kind of like pugging. This game is so casual. I mean, it's so casual. It is. It's just casual. It's a nice casual game that you can have fun with. Explore options, do all sorts of stuff. It's great. It's great. If you want to push and, you know, have those challenges, they're there. For sure. It's for sure. But, you know, whatever. No. You know? And yet you guys hate me, and I got how many kills? 27 with 1.4 mil in Battlegrounds. Did I ever mention I was a 2-time GM in World of Warcraft? Do you guys know what a GM is? How you get it? Anything? How many MMOs have you guys played? I gotta ask. This your only one? It would seem like that. It would seem like it. I just like the fact that I always have the timestamps for the Twiceborn debunk. I have the timestamps for the diminishing returns. I have the timestamps for all of it. You know how many healers are going to love these? Oh my god. Thousands. I do got to give it up to Zoss, though, for putting out that VAT. I really like getting rid of Ellie Drain. God, that was amazing.
More of our tribesmen are trapped inside the ruins. Please save them.
Oh, and that stamina warden healer? God. To know that somebody actually completed every vet trial on hard mode with one of my builds. God, that was amazing. Even though I didn't really care, he recorded it. And he has it still on his site. It was so amazing. Thanked me for it. God. It was so not meta, but geez, what can I say? I'm a giving kind of guy. Loot the bitch.
Too late. Chaos.
Chaos.
I guided the first group back to the swamp.
Chaos.
You are free, friends.
You are free, friends.
Is that you?
I can't wait to finish that PvP build. I got so many toxic things coming out. Oh god, it's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be delicious. God, they're gonna love it. They're gonna eat it up with a spoon.
When I get up, you
Invaders! There your bane sits at!
treat
just seen. We are here to rescue you.
And you guys honestly didn't think I didn't know who you guys were? What guild you're with? Seriously, you guys are so pathetic. Actually, too predictable.
Chudan has broken her bonds.
There we go.
Submit, beast.
I am here. You draw its attention while I... Oh, well, good job.
What have you done?
Release the rest of the Sabino tribe before
Zalur prepares your elders for sacrifice, even as we speak. Their blood will water the roots, as will yours.
sacrifice.
A sacrifice. All hail Gilliam. I like Gilliam. You know we squashed that, right? Gilliam and I. Now he recanted the whole thing about, you know, the DK healer and stuff. That's what got me started. You guys think I had beef, whatever? I was just pointing it out. Everything I did, though, he tested and it came out to be that way. You guys wore three-piece trowel jewelry until he tested it, and I pointed it out. Once again, I debunked Twice-Born Star, not anybody else. Told you guys. You guys never knew what the fuck you were talking about. Ever. You guys don't do the math. And my whole life has been black and white, man. Numbers, 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 and numbers.
You made it. I have searched high and low, but I cannot find any sign of Zalnur or the elders. It is also very, very quiet. That either means the Zitzat have fled,
Applied into gaming,
or
and
they have
I guess that kind of
gathered
paid
great
off for me in a lot of
numbers to
ways,
kill us
though.
all. I hope
You
it
know,
is the
even
same.
after
I am
a lot of
still
changes in my
Zitzat
life, when I
confused.
started testing, you know, it opened up a lot of opportunities, and I got to meet, like, a lot of people. NC Soft really loved me at one time for a lot of things that I did, you know. I was Sony's little golden boy there for a tester for a minute. And then me and the CEO gets into it. That was hilarious.
Another glorious victory. I just need a moment to gather my wits.
Did you see Explorer Celebration? Yep, I just mentioned that before, Adolf. Hey, how's that working out for you, by the way? I mean, I know you said you switched to Mundus. I mean, was it really noticeable? Because I'm glad you did it. I'm glad you actually told me about it. And by the way, dude, thanks also for that Dom heads up, dude. I can't thank you enough for that. I really can't. Like, that worked perfect for like 2 configurations for me. And dude, that was genius, Adolf. Seriously. That was an amazing idea, dude.
Blame their skins for Nakesh.
Stand back, or I will.
You die!
We've got the poison.
Rats, fall down!
Forget, I'll take it. Where's the water gonna be? Right here.
What cannot make you save slaves strong?
Up. Wrong ability. Okay. Go.
No! You die! You...
I had him by the short spines. I know it did not look like it. Please, I just need.
Muckmouth. Now!
Can't wait to get my orbs on this dude.
Worthless! The Sipsa do not suffer weakness. Drench the elders.
I
Kill
don't
the
like doing this thing
invaders.
either.
I will tend
I have to look specifically like
Twist
through.
us into monsters. Please, you must set us free.
Let's set us free. I can see that dude. That's the pizza dude. Right. Is that it? No. You just killed the person. Jeez, Mateezes. I just might as well let him like hack them all.
you.
Oh.
Zona Suhil! Mother Root! Father Stone! Grant me your strength! Dry-skinned
We're missing
This city will be
somebody.
your grave! Your blood and water are mine! Feet in amber! Wake and remember! Rise, amber shade of Zalnor! Crush them! Let me open your eyes! Enough!
Them are-
Quick
yeah,
vines and drag them to... No!
got it.
You will feed the roots!
You will feed them.
You will!
You'll feed them.
It is time to make this witch pay. You attack from the right.
Chaog.
Late again. I erect the spine of deep disappointment. So, this is the mad hiss.
It is the Mad Hist.
By the egg. Do you see how it weeps and twists its roots?
I totally see how it
Elders
hists.
can help. There is still
All right. We are not trolls. We are just here defending ourselves because this guy insults us. I don't know. You guys have been insulting me from day one. So I return it in kind. Like I said, you know, it is what it is. It's, you know what? If you guys would listen instead of like trolling and doing some stuff, I would probably wouldn't rag on you guys so much. But you guys are always saying bis when you can't fucking even count. That's a good That's a good way to get shut down. When you don't even understand an open-ended system.
Right to...
You're like, it's bis. No, you can't count. You don't know about indifferent values. You don't know about marginal substitution. You slap every class in the same gear and then say this class is best because you found a class that works with that configuration. It's not my fault that I'm calling you out to be stupid. You can use the same base set, same monster set. Your secondary set's always going to differ. Why? To race to class. Those are called marginal substitution. That's what this game's premise is. It's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. It always has been. That's what I did. I ran numbers. I had to look at a lot of things in a larger scale than this game at one time in my life. I had to look at, the market trend. I had to look at inflation. I had to draw up, right, calculations 10 years in advance sometimes based on current market and projections. I had to do projections like I don't think anybody can understand. I called all 3 economic downturns during the pandemic accurately. People are like, oh my God. People even question, no, shut up. I'm like, this is what I used to do. This was my job. That's I do projections. I keep to the numbers. It's a numbers thing. That's all. You can find different ways to accomplish the same thing in this game. That's what I keep trying to tell you guys, man. It's a numbers game, man. That's how I was able to figure out everything with the 10-to-1 conversion. It's how I was able to accurately just tell you guys about how diminishing returns work. I work with diminishing returns. You know, I had to for my company and clients, right? That's just the way it works. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to fucking tell you. And if when you guys question it, well, I'm sorry. Your guys are being a little whatever. I don't care if people don't like the builds. I don't care about that. I don't care if people don't want to roll whatever. I don't care about that either. To be honest, the only thing I'm just saying, you have a lot of options in this game that's being taken for granted. And then you have ignorance, because they don't understand how the numbers break down. Like, you guys honestly didn't understand about base conversion. I'm sorry. Holy shit. Like, nobody even taught you that fundamental. Though that's apparent in every MMO. It doesn't change. It's the same math, you know? Though a lot of MMOs, guess what? Gear is linear, so you can't control those diminishing values. This game's got a lot more control factor. The new CP system allows for the devs to control diminishing rate at their leisure. They have now a lot more control over, you know, how the values are adjusted according to the CP system. But you guys actually try to pigeonhole the CP configuration, not understanding that. Trying to say this is the best configuration for DPS across the board. No, it doesn't work like that. That's not the design of it. And because you didn't know it, you sound ignorant when you talk about it. Yeah, I'm still dealing, David. Out. How you doing, by the way, Dave? Hope you're doing good. You sure Shadow hits harder? Mystic already proved you should stack weapon. I always stack, but Adolf went with it, and he said it's doing really good with that configuration. So I think he might be onto something. I didn't check it, to be honest, the Shadow. I just stacked the spell and the weapon damage. But he's on a caster. He's using it on a caster. And I just went with, the base effect. But yeah, he went with the Shadow, and he's like, I changed up the Mundus, and I'm getting a little bit more from the Shadow. So I was actually impressed. So, Adolf, I can see it working on the magic. I have to try it on the Stam, though. So it's kind of interesting. He brought up a very good point. I like my community because we talk about those things, too. Something I may have overlooked or something, But most of the time I always, go to base and then add the critical modifiers to adjust, to scale it. But, obviously, whatever. That's good. That's good shit, actually. It's really good. Cody, homie, just block these guys because their clowns are annoying. Yeah, they are. Let me see. Well, I actually have to go to each one of them, and I actually have to do it after the stream. I can put them in timeout for now. You're not the only person. In Vet Sunspire trial on my Mage Blade, 5 Maiden, Dom, Shadow, no Maelstrom Staff, was hitting 80k Spectre Bows, over 60 Impales. What? Wow. Dude, that is killer. Sorry, my daughter's trying to do her homework. Oh my god. I'm going to have to end the stream. She's in the next room. Dude, Adolf, that is killer, dude. Who's going to cry? Here, I'll put that. Why would I cry? Get the fuck out of here. This dude, he's been with me forever. He has over 200. He just makes a new account. That's really bad, though. That's not what he's pointing. He's in vet. Right. Right. No, he had a different build, Chronic. What he's trying to say, he used another build. He used another build and he switched to mine, and now he's dealing more. So that's all he's saying. But that's pretty good. That's a pretty good adjustment, man, from what you were previously running, I imagine. I mean, I don't know what you were running, or whatever. I try not to knock on people's builds. I don't knock on anybody's builds. Never. That's never my objective. I don't do it. I don't. That's something I take very serious. I feel there are multiple ways to skin a cat. Whatever gets you through content, so be it. So be it. But I don't like it when people want to talk about stuff that they don't, lock it down and whatever. But once again, I don't ever say my stuff's better than anybody's. I just say, hey, here's an optional solution. This is what I'm running. This is how whatever. I try to, accommodate whatever. You opened my eyes. Thank you, Ada. No, dude, you helped me out too, dude. Mystic, you helping me a lot. If not, would be doing this and not testing myself. Right. And that, and I preach that, man. Lewis, my daughter's doing homework. She's homeschooling currently, so that literally what you have been doing about BIS and meta, though. No, what I'm trying to tell you guys, there are different values. Thank you. No, thank you, Adolf. I appreciate it. I always tell my viewers to test it for themselves. Test something for themselves. Make the adjustments. I don't even tell people to trash their builds. I tell people, hey, try this and see if you can get a little more out of it, because there should be a diminishing return right here. That's all I ever say. I'll even, say, you can make these slight alterations, even running the same configuration, and you can squeeze out maybe a little bit more. That's all. Literally. But you guys keep saying BIS. You guys keep saying things that aren't factual because you don't run numbers right. You don't. You put people in 5 divine, 6 light, 6 medium. Don't take into consideration the factors, right, to scale. Some configurations work out better in different circumstances, and I agree with that. I concur with that. But others things you don't have more optimal about performance based on certain contingencies. That's all I ever say. But you guys keep going down this rabbit hole that's just ridiculous. Do I have a Discord? I have it, but it's private. You can't have access to it. It's a private Discord. It's not open to the general public. You don't give me or anyone else a way to show you stuff we're doing. I go to all the meta players stuff to make sure I'm not copying a build. So when I configure a build, I don't want to replicate another person's build. Okay? So that's very important to me. That's very, very important. When I provide a build, I don't want to replicate another build. So yes, when I'm doing something, I always check out you guys first and foremost. Believe it. Was running 5 mothers and 5 false Zon, Thief and Maelstrom hitting like a noodle. Yeah, because you were stacked crit. You were all stacked. Yeah. And it's good when the modifiers are applied, but when the modifiers aren't there, guess what? Your base damage suffers tremendously. And we went over that. We showed how base damage scales critical value anyways. And you do want a high crit. You just don't want to be overextended. Right? Because then when the critical modifiers are added, you get a nice bump, but your base damage is also scaling that as well. So base damage will scale critical value regardless, naturally, because of the percentage value that's already incorporated into the game mechanics. But you definitely want a nice high crit, but not overextended, right? And Adolf, I'm glad you tested it. I'm so happy, man. And then that's the thing I always tell people. Test it for yourself. If you like it, cool. If you don't, you don't. But once again, we don't conform to the meta here. Why? Because there's a bunch of shit that the meta players, they have good builds. I've always said you guys are talented. You guys have good builds. You just don't know numbers. You lack that experience. You keep saying this class is best, this race is best, but you don't know about marginal substitution. And if you don't know about marginal substitution, you're ignorant. There's a lot of things I'm ignorant on. I mean, shit, I wouldn't even change I wouldn't trust me to change oil in a car, okay? I'm ignorant to mechanics. I'm ignorant in chemistry. I'm ignorant in a number of things. Whatever you do for a living, I can promise you, I'm probably, unless it's finance or something based on economics, I'm probably ignorant. And that's what I'm trying to say. there's a lot of things I am ignorant in. But when it comes to these type of numbers, this is something I take to heart. I'm not always right. Something might even bypass me. But when I configure anything, I'm taking into consideration diminishing returns, marginal substitution to the indifferent value. Why? To get at least something accessible for players so they can have a well-rounded template. They can utilize that build or they can opt out. That's the only thing. Now, when it comes to PvP, I exploit the game system to do what? Come out with toxic builds. I don't like to do that, but I do it because why? Because ZOS needs to change things. And if they're going to allow me to exploit the game's mechanics and come out with toxic stuff, I'm going to do it and provide it. Why? Because when the community's all running it, some people are going to bitch and change will occur. I don't like it, but I do it, admittedly. And that's what I do. That's what I said. You might not like what I have to say. You can't, it doesn't change it. I took you out of Twiceborn. I took you out. I showed you diminishing returns. I introduced you guys to so many different things. I told you any class, any role. I told you about mitigation. I've maintained 5 other games. I'm aware about mitigation more than most tanks in this game. Why? Because I already had the experience based on the numbers, how mitigating effects work. Because I main tanked in other MMOs. Sure, I don't main tank in this game. I don't know, and I said I don't know why I never got into it. I was more focused on healing because I was always challenged to do another class as a healer. And I did. So I played more healing in this game. I still have tanks of every class. I just don't main tank. I mained healed. But overall, I accomplished what I set out to do. And now the community says, yes, every class can play every role. But, the only thing you have to know is there's strengths and weaknesses to every healing class, and every configuration needs to be adjusted. There are certain sets that are going to be uniformed across the board, but certain classes benefit from a secondary set more than others. And other passives, like my Sork healer, does not need Worm. He already gives his effect into his ability. So let me go ahead and get into this. I don't need Worm ever on a Sork healer. Can it magnify? Yeah, but I can benefit from a secondary sec in which he lacks. And that's where I got to find marginal substitution. So that's what it's about. Finding the marginal substitution. But Akimo, you've said you don't agree with me in anything. You said, I don't agree with Mystic in anything. But that's fine if you don't. But players will try it for themselves. And I encourage everybody to dive deeper. Dive deeper. An opinion's an opinion, but a fact's still a fact. You're still dealing with a game that has a diminishing return. Wherever you find mathematical law dictates, wherever there are diminishing returns, we have marginal substitution. You don't change that. That is not an opinion. That is mathematical law. Okay? You don't get an opinion on that. Neither do I. I might not even like it, but it still applies. Why? Because of the law of diminishing marginal returns. And because you don't know that, you're ignorant. Okay? So, on this level, we have Empower Ward. I get the minor intellect, right? Worm reduces cost, but I don't need the reduced cost because this applies to the group. Magic Recovery is currently only in 1978, but once I apply my ward, it applies to everybody. And if you look at the number and calculate it to Worm, it's within margins of a difference. Marginal substitution. You guys are so naive to think that the math isn't relevant. But it is. And that's the way that it's designed. Passive application is indication of that within itself. So, whatever. Just that build I gave. Dude, you need to be put back in timeout. No endgame. Dude, you still owe me $500. Shut up. And I already told you why you were wrong countless times. Shame you decided to censor me. Censor you? Dude, you troll. And once again, you're missing the point. Again and again and again. What have I just said? I tell everybody, do not believe even me. Try it out for yourself. Always strive to what? Ask questions. push the bounds. Do never take anybody's word for anything. But this community adheres to what? One person or two people saying something and it becoming law. And that's not accurate. You guys keep saying BIS. You've said BIS. You said Twiceborn Star was BIS. All of you guys used to say that. I guess who told you? No, it's not. You guys said 3-piece trial jewelry. I said no, you don't. You guys said, oh, you guys didn't even check out Nernholm changes to Impen changes. People were still rolling Impen or reinforced over the Nernholm to decrease the damage taken when Nernholm had a much better result on smaller end pieces. I proved that as well. I keep throwing it in your face. Time and time again, you guys have been wrong on so many occasions. Even Outcast had a video at one time saying, when I say BIS, it's, it doesn't always apply, but, blah, blah, blah. And then he went back to the whole BIS thing. Because I had told him, I said, dude, I'm going to expose you. I'm going to expose you. Who told you guys about 2H? I rolled 2H when you guys were making fun of me. Now it's a thing. And my viewers can contest to that. Like when I rolled 2H on builds and people were like, what the fuck? And I did it. I did it before you guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Wow. Don't know what to fucking tell you. Sorry. I beat you to the punch time and time again. I always have. I'm sorry. You guys just don't take the time to do the number crunching. That's all. Respectfully, I think this is where you run into issues. You say you don't believe me, test for yourself, but I'm telling you, I hit 100. I'm not denouncing what you're saying with your build, Akibo. I'm not denouncing that. Did I say you're full of shit with what you're hitting? Did I say that? No, I didn't say that. Did I trash your build? No, I didn't. No. I said, take a look at this config. I told you I provide content for what? Average players. Typically who don't have it or might not want to do it on a large scale. When I walked away from linear MMOs, when I did, I had to get away. I took a 3-year hiatus from MMOs because the last MMO I got into it was just really toxic because we were a raid guild and we completed all the content. We were in the top 10% of clears, whatever. But the problem of it was egos. Everybody fighting, pointing fingers, replacing people without notification because, people didn't think this person was up to snuff, and that community alone gets toxic within its own. It becomes destructive within itself. So I was like, I'm done. I've had it. I was a toxic player. I was even toxic, and I said I want more of a laid back game. Game that I can do end game if I so choose. I can challenge myself, but push out. And then I came to this game, and like I said, I started off as DPS. I was dying because the healers were damaging instead of healing. And that was fucked up. So I took my DPS class and I converted it into a healer. Of course, I bumped into resistance. A lot of people being ignorant. But the numbers were solid. So I had to battle through that. And then next thing you know, I started getting towards more of the cap end stuff when I, finally leveled my tune eventually. And next thing you know, we had an entire community all running Twiceborn Star, and Mag wasn't sharpened. And I'm scratching my head like, why would they do that? That makes no fucking sense. That makes no sense. Like, none. This doesn't even maximize the output of their damage. Why are they all running a triple statted set? Because of the two Mundus? They'd actually lose regardless because the extra stats is with the justification for the secondary. And then next thing you know, I did the video, and then Outcast tested it for himself, and he's like, yeah, Nernholm and Julianus, but I already had the video out before he did. And I told everybody I would be in trials, and I bitch everybody out for being ignorant. They were ignorant because they were fed bullshit. They were fed bullshit. Then I had people arguing with me about diminishing returns. Like, there's no diminishing returns. What? There's no... You have percentage math here. Yeah, that you're invested in. Yeah, that you always have diminishing returns in that scenario. Well, and then everybody found it because they were stacking CP. That changed. You're welcome. Then all of a sudden I have to talk about what? Indifferent values. Why? Because people still don't know the principles. That's all. I allow your comments till you get trolls. Investor PowerPoint. I could put that dude in timeout. We don't, but other endgame players like Skinny Cheeks, Nefast, like, I haven't even messed with Skinny. And show you that what they're running is much better than yours. Dude. Have I ever said anything about anybody's builds? Ever? No, I said they're fucked up because, and I showed the dagger thing too with the loss in DPS, right? Base. I showed base. That's what my viewers are telling you guys too, not just me. They're like, he's right. Critical value increases when base damage increases. Duh. Fucking duh. That's a diminishing return, you morons. It's a diminishing return. I've always stayed 60% into the sweet spot. I'm aware I can always scale crit. I always knew that. But when you take away from base, you're dependent on what? The critical modifiers alone. That's problematic within itself. That's a diminishing return. And if you don't understand that, which you guys didn't, you're morons. You're naive. You're delusional. I said PvP a lot of times. I try to avoid crit sets. Why? All about that base. About that base. All about that base. All about that base. I'm aware people are going to do what? Put on impen. They're not good. They can deflect critical. They ain't deflecting base. And I can get base values up very high. Insanely high. I'm aware of that too. You guys never even considered it. Dude, look, once again, you're missing every point in every scenario. You say that, now I have a couple of viewers saying, I ran your best, I'm dealing more damage with his configuration. Once again, I think you fail to realize human error is accounted for parsing or utilizing metrics. If you slip up on a rotation, you'll have a different outcome. Will you not? Yes, you will. So what do you got to do? You got to calculate to what the metrics are showing, the damage output for each ability, and how each ability is affected to the build's performance. But you didn't take that into consideration. And see, had you been experienced enough to know to process that, you would have known that. Be like, human error can happen in, trying to parse. What human error can't be is what each ability is hitting for, and at the frequency or the change. This metrics, for example, let me pull it up if I can. I don't know if I even got this one configured. Anyways, if I go in, I can set this up to do what? The output, right? Which abilities are healing for what the frequency of the critical value, all of that. Even if I fuck up on a rotation and my output is less than another person who has a better rotation, I know, I'm sorry, I got to get off. But The thing is, what doesn't change is what? How much it heals for, the average, the highs, and the lows. So I just answered your question. So a meta build deals, I didn't. You're missing the point. Why do we say death to the meta here? Once again, you guys use inaccurate terminology. You guys put every class in the same configuration and expect the same output. Math does not work like that. I'm using VO on 2 different characters. They're secondary changes. Why? Why? Because of their passives. That's called marginal substitution. So when you say something is BIS, it's not accurate because you have to take into account marginal substitution. Okay? There you have it. So once again, I don't rag on people's build. I rag on ignorance. That's all. And you guys, once again, you guys come in. If I contradict anything anything somebody says, which has been the constant in the past, I get trolled by the shitload. But it's always been that way. But guess what? You all have converted to what I've said. Always. You guys stop stacking CP points. You're welcome. You guys quit using Twiceborn Star. You're welcome. You guys stop putting Sharpen on Magtunes. You're welcome. You guys started embracing any class can play any role. You're welcome. You're welcome. You might not like it, but you can't deny it. And with that said, I'll let you go. As always, I'm Mystic Raven. This is Mystic's MMOs. Have a nice day.